A pleasant Tuesday evening. It is Tuesday, December 13th, 2022, and I wish to welcome you to the show, The Real Facts, with yours truly, Annette Ferguson, as the host. In studio with me, I have the Honorable Ganesh Mahipal, no stranger to us all. We should also be joined by the Honorable Member Sherwin Holder out of Essex. Guest for this evening's program is the worship, the Mayor of Georgetown, Pandit Yubraj Narain. But before we get into the topic for tonight's discussion, that is the season of joy, not destruction, I just need to do some, shout outs. So I would like to extend best wishes to all the graduates who would have graduated from the University of Guyana last Saturday. I know that you're all elated, you're all jubilant, and the hard work would have paid off, whether 2 years, 4 years, some 5 years. So I wish to take this opportunity to wish you the very best as you continue on your educational journey. Also, I would like to extend best wishes to those persons who are celebrating a birthday today. And I must give a big shout out to our very own Honorable Member Vince Roy Jordan, Member of Parliament and also Vice Chairperson of the People's National Congress Reform, who is celebrating a special day to you. Happy birth anniversary to you, my brother. I also wish to say to you, viewers and listeners, we're live streaming from the studio of HBTV Channel 9, and you can also find us on the PNCR page and all the pages of the members of parliament, and also in the ring, credible sources. You'll find us right there. Just a click of a button, and you will find us right there. So, this evening, as I said before, the topic is season of joy, not destruction. But before I bring my guest in, I want to say to all of us, we would have witnessed what transpired last evening. I think some part of today. But before we go there, I want to take this opportunity in introducing my guest. As I said before, he's no stranger to us all. And I want to welcome Pandit Yubraj Narain, the mayor of the city of Georgetown, to the program, The Real Facts. This is where, we tell the facts as they are real. So we're bringing it in real. So a pleasant evening to you, Pandit. And how are you today?
I am okay.
You're okay?
Yes.
You're sure? All right. Well, Pandit, I just want to ask of you to perhaps share with our viewers and listeners who Pandit Ubraj Narayan is? I know you're well known, but perhaps we may have persons who are joining the program for the first time and they don't know who Pandit Ubraj Narayan is.
I
So in a minute or so.
I I believe the people knows me very well,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
I'm a part of the Mayor and City Council in
mm-hmm,
Mayor,
mm-hmm,
which is a struggle,
mm-hmm,
and been a practicing field of pandit over 19 years,
mm-hmm.
and I continue to do so,
Yes.
and nothing will stop me from
Mm-hmm,
doing so.
mm-hmm.
I will continue to serve my people
Amen.
in the city and out of the city,
Okay.
and I will continue to stand very firm
Mm-hmm,
for the people
mm-hmm.
of the city.
Okay, thank you very much. Um, His Worship, the Mayor of Georgetown, Pandit Yubraj Narayan, for that brief introduction. Pandit, you became the Mayor of Georgetown, I think, just after the November 2018 local government elections. And I think you were elected mayor sometime in
2018.
January of 2019.
No, 2018
2018, sorry.
elected. I took office in 2019.
Oh, you took office in 2019, so you were
Yes,
elected in
2018,
2018.
right.
Okay, good. Thank you very much for the correction. But Pandit, can you share briefly with our viewers, you know, how you have found the job so far?
Well, the mayor's position is not an easy position.
Mm-hmm.
First thing, you have to know the laws
Yes.
which govern the municipality of Georgetown
Mm-hmm.
and the bylaws.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one thing many people don't know how our local government system works
Mm-hmm.
in our country.
Yes.
There's central government and you have
Mm-hmm.
local government.
Mm-hmm.
So local government is that we are the policy makers.
Mm-hmm.
We have to draft policies, we have to make certain decisions to serve the citizen
Yes.
within the cities of Georgetown. And we deal with the garbage issue, we deal with drainage issue.
Mm-hmm.
But bear in mind those bylaws are outdated.
Yes.
1920, 1918, 1940, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And we did garbage issues a decade issue, flooding is a
Mm-hmm.
decade
Mm-hmm.
issue,
Mm-hmm.
and there are a lot of issues that we have on our plate to solve.
Yes. Yes.
And the only way that the city can able to function or to solve those issues, it is with government
Mm-hmm.
hand in hand
Mm-hmm.
to bring remedy and solution to those problems.
Mm-hmm.
Because first thing you have, if you deal with drainage, you have to deal with NDIA.
Mm-hmm.
You have to deal with our city engineer. You have to deal with infrastructure or public works.
Mm-hmm.
So these things call for round table discussion.
Yes.
You have to implement the laws that govern the
Mm-hmm.
city.
Mm-hmm.
You can't act out of the laws.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these things, um, for proper development in the city, you need that dialogue. You
Yeah.
need that engagement.
Mm-hmm.
You need that um, oneness to work along
Mm-hmm.
with central government
Mm-hmm.
and the local municipality, which is the
Yes.
city of
City of
Georgetown,
Georgetown. Mm-hmm.
so that we can able to achieve one goal
Mm-hmm.
in serving the people of Georgetown.
Yes.
But when you have undemocratic actions that you may witness last evening,
Mm-hmm.
we cannot move forward
Mm-hmm.
in such a development. We cannot um, state that we, we are moving in a pace or moving in a form of development in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Consultation needed,
Yes.
engagement needed,
Mm-hmm.
and different stakeholders.
Mm-hmm.
An issue may arise, but undemocratic actions would not able to solve the issue,
Mm-hmm.
but it will actually add more to the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something I believe that you take note of today on
Mm-hmm.
social media.
Mm-hmm.
Protests and by the PVPC calling. I saw the PSC calling for my resignation and all these
Mm-hmm.
things happening out there in the media, religious bodies making statements. But I am not going to deal with that.
Mhm.
I issue apology.
Mhm. Well,
On that note,
I actually have that as a substantive item for
okay.
us to
So,
discuss.
so yes, we have to engage.
Hmm.
Both government and municipality has to engage in
Hmm.
development in the city.
Yes.
Whether vending, drainage, garbage,
Hmm.
whatever may
Hmm.
be the development that government or local the municipality of Georgetown wanted to do, we have to engage. We have to have dialogue.
Hmm.
And the only way we can do that is on a round table,
Yeah,
not on democratic actions.
exactly. The only way to do that is roundtable discussion. And you're absolutely correct, because in order for um, the country or the city, as we speak in city here, to move forward, we all must come together and discuss so we can have one consensus. Um, Mayor, I know for a fact that the coalition government, under the coalition government, you were able to accomplish, many whether projects, whatever yourself and councillors would have set out, you guys were able to um, accomplish them because of what the coalition would have done. The coalition saw the vision for moving the city forward, and whatever requests were made, you guys were able to get the support from the then central government. So, can you briefly state what were some of the accomplishments under the coalition government?
Well, yeah, we have to bear in mind when I took
Mm-hmm.
office in 2019, there was a no confidence motion in
Mm-hmm.
2018.
Mm-hmm.
So we were able to achieve during 2019 garbage trucks, tractors,
Mm-hmm.
tools,
Mm-hmm.
um, a worth of $300 to $400 million, and
Mm-hmm.
everything is accounted for.
Yes.
And that there is a huge achievement in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
In 2020, when the PUP took office,
Mm-hmm.
we did not receive any form of subvention.
Mm-hmm.
And 2021, we was given a cash grant of $30 million to continue the admin building.
Mm-hmm.
In 2022, we received $30 million, which we bought two compactors
Mm-hmm.
and a hauler truck, I believe, to remove the compactors from the markets.
Okay.
So those subvention, 30 million Ghanaian dollars, and people must know that is 150,000 US,
US
I
dollar.
think, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If I to calculate
Mm-hmm.
correctly, 150,000 US dollars, and that can't run the capital of our city.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we may collect taxpayer money, rates and taxes, but we have to bear in mind that that system was valued since 1996,
Mm-hmm.
20 something years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So you still have businesses paying like 6,000, 10,000, 15,000 a year in taxes,
Yeah.
which make no sense.
Mm-hmm.
Some residential area paying $1,000, $1,300, $5,000, $6,000 a year in taxes.
Wow.
So if you really put it in this way, where if you have to manage your resident by yourself and you have to pay a private collector for your garbage, it will be closer to $500 or $1,000 for a week.
Mm-hmm.
So you do the calculation. If you're paying 6,000 and 10,000 a year in taxes at the level of the city, therefore we are running a city on a deficit budget,
Mm-hmm.
right? We did try to balance the budget in 2019 and 2020. However, in 2021, we couldn't manage to balance the budget, and
Yes.
2022.
Yeah.
We are trying again in 2023 budget to balance it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's very, very difficult to balance the city budget because of the expenditure that
Mm-hmm.
we have to deal with. And people must understand as well, the city of Georgetown boundary has expanded
Yes.
from Princess Street to Agricola,
Yes.
right? From, I believe, the boundary from Kitty to Cummins
Cummins
Lodge.
Lodge. Mm-hmm.
So people don't know the history of the city.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something we are losing every god day. That people make statement, um, lash out to the mayor, city council, lash out to the councillors, Well, me always get it as the mayor. I'm the head of the council.
Yes.
But your hands are tied
Mm-hmm.
because if you don't have the enough finance and funding
Exactly.
to carry out the work
Mm-hmm.
or to serve the citizens, we can't do anything. And that responsibility, it is with the government of the day
I know.
to call revaluation for the city.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fiscal transfer act
Act. Mm-hmm.
supposed to give the city so
So
much
much money.
money
Mm-hmm.
per year, which is when you do the calculation, is 6 to 700 million a year, I believe. To be exact, I don't know, but that calculation had done way 2019. We had done something similar,
Mm-hmm.
and these are things. So if we're able to get those funding from government,
Mm-hmm.
we will able to do much more. But let us compare it. The city receiving 30 million, while other municipality that municipality that won by the PPP
Mm-hmm.
getting way beyond the 30 million,
Wow.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
I asked them many times to let us see, let prove it, let us have a view of it in the public.
Mm-hmm.
And these are things that we face at the level of the city council.
Okay, good. But on an average, because you said earlier in your you said earlier that the budget of the council is usually in deficit. But I need to ask a question, a follow up to that. Um, how much, how much is the budget for the council per year?
Currently, the
Mm,
budget for the council, I think this year was $2.4 billion.
2.4 billion.
Yeah.
Mhm.
While that is not enough to run the city,
So what is enough to run the city?
it will run up closely to 6 billion to 7 billion.
Wow, six to
If
seven
you
billion
want if you
dollars.
want
Mm-hmm.
good infrastructure, if you want everything up to date,
Mm-hmm.
it will run there.
Wow. So therefore, Mr. Mayor, you're not getting the full support from this People's Progressive Party civic government.
Well, I said that many times,
Yes.
and I keep make mention it many times
Mm-hmm.
in all my statement.
Mm-hmm.
Since this government took office, I'm calling for working together
Mm-hmm.
to have a working relationship with the government so that we can able to build the city. Because moving to oil and gas economy, we have to put our capital properly. We
Yes.
have to put the people in order.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of infraction at the level of the city state
Mm-hmm.
um, we need to fix.
Yeah.
And the city alone can't do that. And I did met with the president in 2021,
2020.
I think, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I met with His Excellency and I outlined several things to him. And nothing had happened.
Nothing has happened
No,
today.
nothing had
All right.
happened.
All right. Mr. Mayor, I know for a fact that you are on record. You are on record when it comes to the works that are currently um, ongoing in the capital city. Um, you reported that there was no consultation with yourself or the municipality and the Ministry of Public Works. But despite your plea for consultation, it seems as though, the People's Progressive Party Civic is on their own trajectory. They don't care about anybody. So I know for a fact that we had a situation in Independence Boulevard there, where residents were actually forced to remove or relocate. I know that we have ongoing works on Cemetery Road. I think there's a contractor, the contracting firm, Avinash Contracting Services. You got some work going on the Vicingen Road area. I think it's from Sandy Bab Street to Lemaha Street. I mean, let the public
No
know.
consultation had done with us. None at all.
But I mean, while we crave for development, while we would want to see the city move forward, right? Can I ask you? I mean, yes, you want central government involvement to, because the city is lack of financial resources. But I mean, if the government of itself is not following the laws or the bylaws of the city council, I mean, the council can take whatever action against the government.
Yes, we can, but you see, I'll be very honest to you. I believe to work together,
Mm-hmm.
which I make mention numerous times.
Mm-hmm.
A municipality government taking central government to court is not a good um, view for
Yes.
public.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can able to resolve those issues in house, and that is what I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
it will be better
Mm-hmm.
to resolve those issues.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to direct the government. We want, I know the government, yes, may have a passion,
Mm-hmm.
development,
Mm-hmm.
but consultation is necessary in the city for any projects.
Mm-hmm.
Because when the day is up, the city responsible for all this infrastructure work, the
Mm-hmm.
people livelihood in the city, everything the mayor city council responsible for.
Yeah.
So when you finish a project and we are not aware who was awarded the contract, how much, what is some of the contract,
The period for the
the period
contract.
for the
Mm-hmm.
contract,
Mm-hmm.
all of these things are public information that the city council should receive,
Yes.
so that we can able to keep abreast
Mm-hmm.
with any projects within
Mm-hmm.
the city of Georgetown,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can able to put our part. So when this project finish, we may have to create a policy, or maybe make a decision at council. Look, we
Yes.
have to maintain, and we have to know, see how we're gonna find the funding to maintain certain areas in the city,
Mm-hmm.
which is done by any government.
Yes.
So those things are not being happening,
Mm-hmm.
and that is what continue to happen in our city is undemocratic actions.
Mm-hmm.
It's a policeism
Mm-hmm.
um, on the council level, and it should not be done in that manner.
Mm-hmm.
If you're speaking of democracy, you're speaking of one Guyana, you're speaking for every Guyanese. I'm a Guyanese.
Yes.
The citizens in the city are Guyanese.
Mm-hmm.
The staff that work at the city council are Guyanese.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, so the fundamental issue, we are not dealing with it.
Okay, well said, Mr. Mayor. I know it's close to half of an hour into the program, and we have one or two other guests to bring on. But before I bring them in, I just want to make this particular point or this statement that there are two bills that will be engaging the National Assembly. I don't think the solid waste management bill has reached the National Assembly as yet. It hasn't been tabled. I know that there were consultation in September, right? I know for a fact that last Monday, the Minister of Housing, Colin Crowell, tabled a single electronic processing window bill where you would have many of the activities that are actually being done by the council, right? With this new bill, it some of your activities will now form part of this new bill. I think they want to establish some oversight committee to address all of these things. The time a business person might have submit their plans with through to the various, I think, agencies before any final approval. So the essence of this bill is basically, according to what I read, to make the whole process an efficient one. So, was there any consultation with the main city
They,
council where
they
that is
did had
concerned?
consultation, and
Mm-hmm.
I said it on this program, and I said it before, that the consultants, I think, is from Trinidad,
Okay.
And the guy stood up and said to us very clear that if we did not respond in time, the agency or the authority which will be set up from that bill will go ahead and approve the plan. Those things are going to affect the city. I'm not against the one window bill. There's certain clause in that bill need proper consultation with the local authorities.
Yeah.
And that again I'm speaking of. We're in a democratic nation. And I believe in a democratic nation, we must able not to be silenced on matters that affect the rich, the middle class, and the poor. We must not able to be silenced on those matters,
Yes.
which will affect the rich, the middle class, and the
And the
poor.
poor.
We have to represent all, right? And that is what I is doing since I took office. I never take sides. I always try to represent the GCCI. I represent
The PSC.
the Private Sector
Sector
Commission.
Commission.
I represent the vendors. I represent the business who is non who is not with the private sector. I represent every individual, every NGO, every organization. And when we have such a thing, a bill to pass, you need more than 2 or 3 months consultation. And the same very bill can able to minimize, to have a round table with all agencies, come 3 times a month, set up your terms of reference or your policy that what you're looking for, the fire
Yes.
service, the GWI, the public health, the mayor city council, the housing, and we EP or whoever other agency, walk with terms of reference, what you're looking for, walk with your stamp, and we stamp and sign off there. Within 3 days, that person can uplift their plans.
Okay.
That is a simple process. While you have to go establish a new authority, which will take away the powers from these agencies and mostly the city, which you said that we taking along with people plan, but it's not with us. You submit a plan to the city council, he has to go to public health. Come back to us, he has to go to GWI. Come back to us, you have to go to housing. Come back, you spend like 3-4 months at housing. Then come back to us, then fire service. Then we have to sign off. While it's in the same breath, 3 times a month we can reach round table, settle your terms of reference, work with your sample, what you're looking for, and we move forward.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Well, the bill is now before the National Assembly, and I trust that my colleagues, whenever the time for the debate, if we have concerns, we would probably recommend that the bill be sent to a special select committee where you have a wider range of consultation, because you might have a private person may want to come and have an input made. You know, a private person perhaps may not have had the opportunity at the first consultation. So I guess my colleagues at the level of the National Assembly, they will make that decision. But Mr. Mayor and viewers, I now would want to turn our attention to, you know, what is actually streaming across social media. You know, from last evening, what we observed out at New Market Street. So before we get into the meat of the discussion, I would love for the operator to show us some of the video from last evening's activity, and we'll bring in our next guest, Mr. Ganesh Mahipal, the honorable member. So over to you, operator.
Officer, you want to see fair play here, no? You want to see fair play here, sir? You want to see fair play here, sir? You want to see fair play here? You want to see fair play here, officer? Yes, it's unacceptable. You want to see fair play here, officer?
You can record what you want. Now why record you the man record he go show children them that he work. And I'm telling them when you see you engage in anything that is sludge and cause people distress and pain will come
What is
to
the
you.
man name?
Yeah, when you see people come back, it might not be tomorrow, it can be worse for you. You better do the things that are right. Everybody along there, I believe, you know, if you read the Holy Quran, you have to read the Bible, or the Bhagavad Gita, or the four books of God, Jesus, the Lord will tell you. But you don't do people things wrong. When you do these things, it just come back against you. Don't do people them thing, but that's unfair thing to people. You don't do them thing, but all that I hear.
Okay, so we have in studio joining us in studio, we have Honorable Member Mr. Ganesh Mahipal, who happens to be the regional rep for the region number 3, and he's also shadow minister for the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development. Also joining us in studio, we have Honorable Sherwin Holder, Member of Parliament and also the Chairman of the People's National Congress Reform. And he too is the Region 2 representative Member of Parliament. Gentlemen, a pleasant evening to you both.
Good evening, Annette. Thank you very much for having me on your program.
You're most welcome, Ganesh. Sherwin, I cannot hear you, Sherwin.
Oh, sorry about that. I was saying good evening to you, Annette, and your viewers, and I was saying thanks for having me as well.
You're most welcome, my dear. Well, gentlemen, this evening we're actually discussing the topic season of joy and not destruction. And in studio with me, I have the mayor of the city of Georgetown, Pandit Yubraj Narain. And this evening, we will be looking at what really transpired there um, in New Market Street last evening into this morning. So perhaps, Mr. Mayor, you can say to our viewers what would have caused the actions last evening.
Um, the vendors met with me after they were served a notice
Mm-hmm.
from Public Works. That road, New Market Street, do not belongs to the state.
Mm-hmm.
It belongs to the municipality of Georgetown.
Mm-hmm.
Those vendors have been issued approval from the council to vend there.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I guess when you if you remember when the government took office, they break down the street where they went
Yeah.
spot there until we can able to relocate them.
Mm-hmm.
So I met with them. I said, look, this is our road, the city road, and we have to deal with this matter.
Mm-hmm.
I put out a lot of statements to Minister Ejil that he issued from on behalf of his ministry.
Yeah.
And I said, look, I can't allow this in this period of time, a joyful occasion, Christmas, where those people has to fend for their family, to
Yes.
put food on the table. They got children to send back to school, and all these things. And so I reach out many times to government, which I make mention of. I call the Attorney General to ask him to intervene in this matter yesterday before this obstruction and what is happening there on New Market Street last evening. And I did not get the Attorney General. So when I leave, the vendors call me and said, look, Mr. Mayor, these people have come to move. And I said, no, they can't move you. I'm asking for consultation. I'm asking for, let us meet with the Minister of Public Works. And that is my only concern. My only concern is that we have to meet, like I make mention, discuss where we're going to relocate them. Because they're out there fending for their family, right? You want them to go and thief? You want the women them to go do prostitution, which nobody's addressing in our country. A guy came there, he vending there, he going to UG. He has to pay his UG fees. And all of these things, I think, as a leader, what would happen to these people? Yet the minister claim you want to move them. Yes, I have no problem. We can move the people. But let us have dialogue, consultation with the people, the vendors, and the mayor city council. There's a council. There's an elected council. Go there. I thought we're gonna solve the issue, but meeting there, officers did not listen. I tried to talk to the officer. The officer instruct the truck driver to drive. And then I got up and said, the officer wants to see fair play. I had to represent the vendors. And the vendors is my concern, right? We must able to defend the rich, defend the middle class. Why we should only be in this undemocratic, dealing with all these democratic actions in our house. I'm only speaking on my city, the city that the city council is in charge of. So that is where it escalates, and it went haywire. I tried to I spoke with the division commander who was very cooperative with me in terms. He said the instruction was to be there, but the police wasn't doing that. There's forming rings and come with the truck to remove, and then the master he get instruction and all these things. So those are the issues we had to face last evening, fighting for the poorer class of people. I'm not saying, look, vendors, yes, and I always said this, that they should not block passageway, business people, passageway, and so on. And we are working towards those things. But we have to see how they can make a life too.
Yeah.
Fishermen get grant. Rice farmer get grant. Sugar workers get grant. I don't know who more get grant. But the poor vendors left without any grant, left without 8%, left without a dollar to know. I don't know where they're going to wake up if those caravans move, going to find a cup of coffee and a meal for their kids and themselves in the morning.
All right, thank you. At this point, I would want to bring in the shadow person for local government and regional development, the Honorable Ganesh Mahipal. Mr. Mahipal, I know earlier today, the People's National Congress Reform hosted a press conference of which you were a part of. And I think many questions or some questions surrounding the incident that occurred last evening were actually put by reporters. As the shadow person for local government and regional development, what is your take? What is your position on what actually transpired there last evening?
Thank you, Annette. Without a doubt, what we as citizens of Guyana witnessed last night gives us enough to conclude that we have an obstructionist installed regime governing our country. And I say obstructionist because all that they did last night is interfere with a legislative body called the mayor and councillors of Georgetown. The city of Georgetown is administered by a local authority body that is covered by law. It is covered by the Constitution. The Constitution of Guyana enshrines that local democratic organs ought to administer their affairs. And when you have central government, and in this case, an installed regime that was put there on fraudulent votes, we must never forget that. We must always remember that the People's Progressive Party is holding government on fraudulent votes. There were a number of irregularities and abnormalities and anomalies that were found in election 2020, and that is responsible for them being there. So they're not legal, they're illegal. And their obstructionist manner of administering the affairs of this country by flagrantly violating the Constitution in the sense of not paying any respect to the local democratic organ, in this case, the municipality of Georgetown, is one that bothers me, and I'm sure it will bother all right-thinking Guyanese and law-abiding citizens. It hurts me, and it's heart-wrenching to know that, in keeping with what Mayor Ubraj Narain said, that these vendors ply their trade to have a decent living. They have children. They have grandchildren. They did not get the 8% increase that was given to our working class, and they're working class too. They did not benefit from any grant that the government gave out. They have to simply sell what they have in their little shops and earn a living. But what disturbs me, Annette, is that you had no less a person than the mayor of the city of Georgetown, the mayor who had to stand up on the property that belongs to his council and fight to keep it. The mayor had to lie down, not only stand up, lie down between the wheels of a vehicle to show that he is not giving up on this fight for these poor people. And then you had the police acting on political instructions, basically telling the truck driver to drive. And if that is an instruction that he can give to a truck driver, knowing that the mayor is there, lying down between the wheels, it is as though the police was prepared to tell the driver, drive over the mayor's foot.
Yes.
And that is the state that we are in, Annette. This is where we are as a country. It is worrying when the mayor of Georgetown, tell me where else, which other country a mayor had to go and fight for what belongs to his or her city. That road, Annette, that road is not gazetted as a public road.
Exactly.
New Market Street is not gazetted in law as a public street, so it doesn't fall under Bishop Edghill, the fake bishop. It doesn't fall under him. It falls under the municipality of Georgetown. And Georgetown has to administer the affairs of that street, and they have given the permission to the vendors to earn a decent living. But I admire Ubraj. I must say this. Annette, I admire Ubraj's attempt and numerous attempts to solicit a working relationship with the installed regime in the interest of the people of Georgetown. I admire Ubraj's fight for the poor people of Georgetown. I admire his strength of demonstrating in the wee hours of the morning his ability to stand up, come out, and fight for the people of Georgetown. Ubraj could have chosen to be at home with his wife and family. Ubraj could have been in his bed at that hour, but he chose to come out, and he stood up and he fought valiantly for those vendors, and the fight will continue because the wicked demonic Edghill will not stop. It is in his blood. He has a DNA for wickedness, and he will continue to do what he does best, and that is to destroy and disrupt. And I want to say to the mayor to continue to fight for what you believe in, continue to stand strong for democracy, continue to fight for the people of your city, and continue to represent the poor people of this country, because they need that representation against this elitist administration who only considers their friends, families, and favorites whenever they want to distribute the wealth. Ubraj, I salute you, my brother.
Okay, thank you very much, Ganesh. You would have said a mouthful there. I will now want to bring Sharon into the discussion. You know, Sharon, the topic that we're focusing here this evening is season of joy and not destruction. I know that the People's National Congress reform, they would want to see our people be joyous during this celebration of Christmas. But what transpired there last evening was quite unfortunate. As chairman of the People's National Congress reform, do you care to share with our listeners and viewers what is the position of the political party on this matter? Mind you, the council is managed by a mayor, an elected mayor, and elected councillors who are responsible for managing the affairs of the city of Georgetown. So, as a mass-based political party, can you share with us what is the position of the People's National Congress reform on this unfortunate situation which occurred last evening?
Thank you, Annette, and thanks for having me once again. Let me
Welcome.
first say that, yes, let me first say that we have full confidence in the mayor of Georgetown, Pandit Yubraj Narain. He has our full confidence. I was looking at Yubraj and looking at the video there, and the first thought that came to mind was that, he has demonstrated that he can be a strong leader, somebody for the people, for the ordinary people
Mhm.
of Georgetown. And I think as a young man, that is remarkable. He's shown remarkable leadership over the last few years that he has been there. So, Yubraj, I want to formally say to you that you have our full support and the full backing of our party and your party, of course, behind you. Um, and Annette, listen, I can't say it better than what you've just said.
Mhm.
Georgetown is managed by the mayor and a bunch of councillors who has the authority, who has within their remit to govern Georgetown, to govern that city at that
Mhm.
level. For the sake of your viewers, I would want to let them understand that there are three tiers of governance in this country. You
Mhm.
have the central government, you which has far and wide responsibilities, well documented according to the constitution. Then you have the regional governance, and they also have a role to play at the regional level. And then at the
Mhm.
lower level, you have the thongs and NDCs, which are governed by councils. In the case of NDCs, you have a chairman and a vice chairman and others there. But in the
Yeah.
case of a town, you have the mayor, deputy mayor, of course, and and the town council, which comprise of the councillors and the administrative arm. And so the general expectation, according to the laws of this country, is that that council will be allowed to govern, will
Mhm.
have the jurisdiction um, over the town, and to be able to carry out their duties without fear, without interference from
Mhm.
central government.
Yes.
Of course, you will require some level of collaboration, as the mayor explained earlier. You, generally you expect to have some level of collaboration between the central government and the town council. But in the case of what happened, and I want to speak specifically to the issue that occurred last night. First of all, it is my understanding that the area in question comes directly under the council, under the supervision, under the remit of the council. And so central government had no right or no authority, according to law, to intervene or to participate in the activities that they participated in last night. And the mayor would have highlighted the fact or bring to the fore the fact that he would have attempted several times to consult with them, to consult with Ejil, the Minister of Public Infrastructure. He would have also reached out to the Attorney General, who should know the law, who
Yes.
should understand that they have no jurisdiction and should have been able to advise the minister to desist from what he had intended to do. So, for his part, Mayor Ubraj would have exhausted all the avenues that he should have exhausted. He would have done whatever he had to do, being the mayor and within his remit of the law. And so I am proud, and we are proud as a party of the actions taken by the mayor, and we are even more proud of him with the step he would have taken to venture out into the area there and to represent the people.
Yes.
You know, and
Yes.
so we're extremely proud about that. And Yubraj, you have to continue. My advice to you is to continue to do what you have been doing as mayor, and the people will recognize that they'll recognize that they have a mayor who is caring, who cares about the people, who has a genuine interest in the well-being of the vendors and the people of Georgetown. Now, Annette, the topic, now I look at your topic and it's season of joy and not destruction. But I want to tell you this. This is a destructive party. This is People Progressive Party. Every single time at Christmas time, they
Yes.
come with these types of actions, especially in Georgetown. And they know fully well that Georgetown is a stronghold of the PNC and by extension the APNU AFC. And there is no other reason that I can see why they would move in this type of direction. Look, I was looking at social media just earlier today, and I recognized the contrast. I don't know if you wanted to discuss that, but the contrast between
yes.
what occurred at Monrepo
Yes.
as against what transpired there last night in Georgetown. Now you have one set of people, and I believe, I like to be fair, I like to be balanced. I believe that the people of Monrepo more than likely had a right, they had a concern, they had an issue that they wanted the government to address. And so they stood up to the government by taking certain actions that they would have taken at the market there. And we saw how the government dealt with that. What they did was to invite them to an AC room, to whichever the
Exactly.
minister's office or his boardroom, and they had proper consultation, proper discussion. And then I see on the minister's page that the issues were resolved. But when you come to the perceived APNU AFC supporters in Georgetown, what did they do? They called in the police, started to destroy whatever they had to destroy, and proceeded to remove the stalls from the vendors, even wanting to go as far as to drive over the mayor of Georgetown, disrespecting him and the councillors out there. even in the face of people like Roysdale Ford, senior counsel, and others out there. I noticed the leader of the opposition eventually was out there also. But this is the level of disrespect that you get from the PPP government whenever they are in office. It is like it's two Guyanas, two
Yeah.
separate Guyanas. One where you deal with people in a professional manner, and you deal as though you're a government that respect the rule of law and respect the people. And then there is that other Guyana where you just decide that you could bulldoze. These people are of lesser value, and you can just bulldoze them down and do whatever you want to do. I don't have a problem with removing, and I know you want to come in on it, but I don't. I just want to say this here. We as a party don't have a problem with consultation. We don't have a problem with you removing vendors or anybody, but it has to be done in a way that allows for them to earn, allows for them to be able to support their families. And so we will condemn this act, and we will stand with the mayor and the people of Georgetown. We will stand in their corner. We will give them the kind of support they need to resist this wicked and vindictive PPP government.
Thank you very much, Sharon. I know we have a few minutes into program time, but before we wrap up, I just want to inform our viewers and listeners of the declared public roads in the city of Georgetown. And I want you to listen to me carefully. Clive Lloyd Drive, Rupert Craig Highway, University of Guyana Access Road, Water Street, Battery Road, Seawall Road, Young Street, Baroque Street, Camp Road, Fort Street, Vicingen Road, Irving Street, Station Street, Duncan Street, Thomas Road, Rumvelt Avenue, Houston Bypass, Sheriff Street, Kitty Avenue, Eastern Highway. You hear New Market Street in this lineup? New Market Street is not listed here. So the actions taken by the Minister of Public Works last evening was quite unfortunate. And look who were the persons affected. Women in the clip earlier while the program is being aired. You've seen them voicing their concerns. They expressed the sacrifices that they have to make. One woman, I listened to her this morning, 2 sons. One was electrocuted yesterday. One is attending university, reading for his bachelor's degree in medicine. And that is her sacrifice to ensure that his tuition fees are paid. The woman made it very boldly. She doesn't seek scholarship for her child, but she's making the sacrifices on a daily basis. This is real unfair, Mr. A. Fanali. It is unfair, Bishop Edgel, and as a man of the cloth, you should know better. Mayor, just before the program, I heard, I read, I noticed the public calls by a segment of the society, the private sector commission. I don't think I've seen anything from GCCI. Even His Excellence, even Fanali came out to say about these misfit persons, but I wouldn't even go there. But the private sector commission has called for your resignation. What words, what would you want to say to the private sector commission?
Thanks. A very good question. All the statement that issue, I read all of it. ECCI, private sector, and a few religious bodies, and so issue statement. I was very emotional at that point of time.
But you look that way.
Last evening, seeing mothers, single parent, bread and butter be taken away. As a leader, both religious and political leader, the fundamental issue that we have to deal with is mentioned in none of those releases. All the mentioned removes this statement, what I made or something, which I did apologize or this morning, something.
Yeah.
Didn't make mention for the president meet the mayor
Mm-hmm.
or the government meet the mayor. Make mention of let us work with the vendors so that we can able to have a structure or some mechanism put in place. And those things, none of such in those statements by none of the organizations. That alone hurt me. Calling for my resignation is no issue. I'm a leader. And if I represent the people of the city and I went out there to stand with them and by them, and I made a statement which affected a few bodies.
Yes.
I apologize and so on. But the fundamental issue we did not address in that statement calling for my resignation. It is sad. And that's why I will continue to fight. And I will continue to stand by the people of the city. While coming here, I heard that they're planning an arrest for me. Maybe later tonight. They want to maybe jail me. I don't know if it's true or just false. I was told so. That they want to arrest the mayor of Georgetown. I don't know for what reason. What I have done by standing up for the people of the city, the vendors. So I'm still await. I have my attorney's laws standby. So if they do arrest me and want to jail me, I have to put things in place for my family as well. I am ready. I'm fearless at this point of time. I'm fearless because I took an oath to represent the people of the city. And I will stand by my oath. All the religious body, yes, call, said that the distasteful or whatever they make mention, but nothing. And I want the world to see this GCCI and all these religious bodies that call for my resignation not involve the people that what I was fighting for, which I laid my life down for, not for them, not even call on the government to let us have a working relationship with the council, but you focus on a different direction to persuade the people in mind on a direction which didn't cause that issue to happen last evening. I speak fearless. I speak with the Almighty as my only support and the people of my city as my support, with my party people. I will stand very firm on the oath that I took before His Excellency the President, who administered the oath. And I hold the holy book, the Gita, and I will stand by it without fear or favor, affection or ill will. I will stand by my oath. So I hope the world is watching that what we are facing as a democratic nation. And I keep saying again to the private sector, to the same very religious bodies, the protesters out there, when the council cried for working relationship with the government, where were them? Letters were sent to His Excellency, several letters to the Minister of Public Works, local government. One minister rejected my letter
and sent it back to the office only last week. The Minister of Culture, Youth and Sports rejected the letter, said, and sent it back to my office. Is that a democratic nation? Is that where we are headed as a people? Is that where we have love for our Guyanese people?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. You will remain fearless and you will continue to fight for the people you represent, the
So I don't know if I
vendors.
would be jailed.
Okay. So I don't know if Ganesh or Sharon would like to add, closing comment on what the private sector and the GCCI and all the other bodies, even FNRE, who would have made a comment calling on the mayor to resign. So your closing remarks, gentlemen. I'll go with Ganesh first, and then I'll take Sherwin.
Thank you, Annette. In closing, I want to reiterate my support for the mayor of Georgetown and the councillors, the elected body, the legally elected body of Georgetown, and I would like to encourage them to continue to stand by the law and to represent the people of Georgetown. I did also take note of the call by the Private Sector Commission and so on for the mayor's resignation, which I think was a political stunt. And I know that there are people within the private sector who are against that call because some even reached out to me and said that they were not part and parcel of such a decision. And it is obvious that the persons who are within the pockets of the PPP are the ones who went ahead and issued such a statement. And I want to take the opportunity to remind them that Charandas Prasad abused a woman in another country, and I'm still awaiting to see a statement on that. I want to remind them that the Sugate matter involving Barrett Jagdeo, where it is alleged that corruption happened with Sue, we're still awaiting a statement to that effect also. We have seen many other situations that are way heavier in terms of affecting transparency and accountability in this country. And we're still awaiting to see statements along that line. But it is clear as day that there is heavy political interference at the level of the police, at the level of people within the Private Sector Commission. And of course, the People's Progressive Party has one intention, and that one intention is to destroy the guardrails of our democracy, to pull down the Constitution, have no regards or respect for the Constitution of this dear land. And we who are right-thinking Guyanese, who know that we can only survive in this democracy by adhering to the rule of law, will have to fight to protect the rule of law. We'll have to fight to uphold the rule of law. And we will have to fight for the protection of the poor and vulnerable, because their survivability is equally important to every other citizen of this country. It is without a doubt that for Guyana to grow, the PPP has to go. And I say that with no regret. And I call on every right-thinking Guyanese to stand side by side with the mayor of Georgetown. And I want to tell the mayor that if they believe they will arrest you wrongfully, and we have to walk the streets of Georgetown for them to release you, we will do just that. Thank you.
You're most welcome, and thank you very much, Ganesh. Sharon, your closing remarks, please. Unmute, Sharon.
Oh, thank you, Annette. The call by these organizations seem to be political in nature. As Ganesh rightfully said, there is so much that would have occurred, especially over the last 2 years, and you don't see any statement coming out from these organizations. You had the lawyer, the case of the lawyer, the female lawyer just recently. You had the abuse. You were there, Annette, in Parliament. You had the abuse by a minister. You had so many other issues. You had the local government minister allegedly exposing his private parts. You had people spitting on security guards. You had such heinous acts being committed by high officials of the PPP government, but you never hear anything from any of these organizations. The
Exactly.
private sector commission, not the private sector, the private sector commission needs to understand its role when it comes to the society and dealing with these issues, and avoid being political. They have acted in a political, in a partisan manner over the last 2 years, and it is my hope that they can understand, get a better understanding of the role and function, and try to carry it out in a fair and um, non-partisan manner. To the mayor and the people of Georgetown, I want to reiterate again our support, the party's support, and the support generally from the opposition. We stand firmly with our mayor. We will continue to stand rather with the people of Georgetown, and whatever the PPP might be planning, I want to issue a warning to them that we will not have any of it. We will stand in the corner of our people, and we will represent them if it comes to that. So I just want to put them on notice that, you know, the party has a responsibility to the people, to our supporters, to the people of Georgetown, and to the people of this country. And if you're going to violate their rights, if you're going to trample on the rule of law, then we will have to act.
Okay.
And so I want to thank you for having me tonight, Annette.
You're
And
welcome.
wish you all the best, and your viewing public a Merry Christmas and, a joyous season
2020.
altogether.
Good. Thank you very much, Sherwin. I know we're winding up because we're already over program time. So I will give the mayor the final opportunity to speak into the lens of the camera to your people of Georgetown.
Thank you very much. I just want to remind the people of the city of Georgetown,
Mm-hmm.
as mayor, I, Raj Narayan, who took an oath.
Mm-hmm.
If those statements was fair today, issued by the private sector, the GCCI, and the religious bodies, I should have tendered my resignation this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
I should have tendered my resignation this afternoon without any question.
Yeah.
To the public,
Mm-hmm.
to the citizens
Mm-hmm.
of the city. But those statements is unfair, injustice, and undemocratic, undemocratic. To see that I call on the government to work with the mayor, to engage the mayor immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I should have stepped aside and hand the mantle over to my deputy mayor
Mm-hmm.
to continue to run the office of the mayor and to serve the people of the city. So I said that to say this evening, I will continue to fight.
Mm-hmm.
Those statements that the private sector commission, the GCCI, and the other religious bodies, they issued, it is injustice and unfair
Mm-hmm.
to the poorer class people of this city. I should have resigned this afternoon,
Okay.
without any doubt.
Mhm.
But I will stand by the people of
Thank-
the city. I will stand for the rich, the middle class, and the poor.
Mhm.
When it's necessary, I will act accordingly.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Indeed, you will stand with your people. right? You will stand for fairness, you stand for justice, and you stand for equity. And on the closing remarks, on my closing remarks, I just want to say that I too join with my colleagues and the People's National Congress Reform to stand with you. I stand with you. So viewers, this is all the time we have. I know we went over by a few minutes, but I think the program was quite an interesting one. And I want to encourage each and every one of you to join with the mayor of Georgetown. We cannot, we should not allow the People's Progressive Party Civic to get away with the injustice, to get away with the unfairness. Thank my colleagues, Ganesh Mahipal and Sharon Holder, for joining with us on The Real Facts this evening. May God continue to bless us. May God continue to bless you. And may God continue to bless our dear land, Guyana. I do look forward to you joining me next Tuesday at 7 p.m. on HBT Channel 9 as we bring you more The Real Facts. Thank you.